Hello, and welcome to Ends in a Tie, presented by the Guild. So, welcome everybody. I'll welcome you three to the show. Thanks for being my inaugural three guests. Yeah. All right, so I thought I'd do introductions in order of how long I've known the person, starting with the person I've known the longest, which is, well, we'll find out who that is. Dave Stewart. Dave, yeah, hey Dave.
Hi Rob.
I've written a little thing about you.
What?
I've written a little intro.
Does it rhyme?
No. But there's some clever wordplay, I think.
Okay.
Dave is a writer of all sorts, but I don't believe he likes black licorice. He's an aspirer and inspirer of arts and artists in all disciplines. And I say without hyperbole, he's a personal muse without whom I would be nothing. So
wow.
Welcome, Dave.
Can I say? That's the closest I've ever heard you come to hip-hop, and it was really good.
All right. Next up, Dylan Miller. Now, Dylan is the owner and operator of Lightning Bolt Comics in Charlottetown.
Yeah.
Now, one of my regrets of being born like 2 weeks early to have gotten into the comics when they had a resurgence, was it like in the early 90s, Dylan, would you say the resurgence happened, or a surgence?
There's been a few ebbs and flows, and independent comics came hard in the 80s, mid to late 80s.
Okay, so in the 80s then.
In the 90s, we had a return to like Spider-Man and more traditional superheroes. Yeah.
Right. And finally, we have Marli. Now, admittedly, I don't know much. As I said, I don't know much about Marli. Chief among those things that I don't know about Marli is how to pronounce your last name.
Oh, that's a big discussion topic, actually.
I bet. Can I make a guess before, or maybe all of us could guess before you tell us what it is? Is it Trecartin? That's my guess. Dave?
Okay.
I need the spelling.
Oh, Trecartin. I believe. Yes.
Trecartin.
One syllable?
Trecartin.
All right. Yeah. Dylan?
Trecartin.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, that's the most common one I get is the
French.
It's actually a British origins.
Is it?
But it really depends on who you ask, even amongst my family members. It's like a long-running family joke that, like, some of us say Trecartin, some of us say Trecartin. I'm more prone to say Trecartin, but if someone asks, like, what? And then I pronounce it completely different the second time. And if they ask me what again, the third time's a different pronunciation again. So
yeah.
I'm just barely getting by, really.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like it.
Yeah.
That's our trifecta of guests tonight, Dave, Dylan, and Marli. Thanks so much. Let's get right into the action with our first segment. This is called Legitimate Trivia. I actually have a little computer program that I wrote that I just put in like thousands and thousands of trivia themes, and I just let it randomly select one. And the one that it selected for the three of you is Italian horror cinema. So I don't know if you have much knowledge of Italian horror cinema, but best of luck.
All right. Let's go.
Yeah.
I can't help but think that's pretty specifically random.
Well, it's totally random. All right. So Italian horror cinema is the topic.
Okay.
Question
Dave,
one.
You still doing any writing during the pandemic? Any stuff for horror magazines?
Not lately, Dylan. I have in the past.
You've written for horror magazines, Dave?
I remember your Rue Morgue stuff. I think you did some pieces on non-English horror movies.
Yeah, I did. I wrote a little bit about some for Rue Morgue magazine, which is about horror and culture and entertainment. And You know, I have a really large, like 3,000 movie collection. It's got some international fare.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you may have lucked out in this category.
Yeah.
Depends on the questions. It's really, you know.
So let's go on to question one of the legitimate trivia round, Italian horror cinema.
Yeah.
Number one, a mysterious masked killer stalks and kills his prey in a black trench coat, fedora hat, and leather gloves, leaving brutal murders all over the city. What category do Italians typically label this type of story? L'assassino, rosso, giallo, or terrore? We'll leave Dave for a minute. Dylan, what did you have for that one?
I went with Terrori.
Terrore, or as I like to say with my Italian heritage, terrore.
Yeah.
Marli?
I said La Assassino.
L'assassino. It's hard to say, I find. L'assassino. I find when I say l'assassino, I'm like halfway through it, I'm just adding syllables. Dave, what did you come up with? What's your guess?
The giallo.
The correct answer is giallo. Question 2. Monica Ranieri was the name of a character and killer in what classic Dario Argento film? The Girl Who Knew Too Much, Phenomena, The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, or Lisa and the Devil? Give you a couple of moments to think about that and write down your answers.
The last title again, please.
Lisa and the Devil.
And okay.
And the Devil, yes. A little bit of games play there, I think, from Dave Stewart. Marli, what did you say?
Phenomena?
Phenomena. Dylan?
I also went with Phenomena.
Phenomena. Dave?
I said The Bird with the Crystal Plumage.
The Bird with the Crystal Plumage is the right answer. Congratulations, Dave. That's 2 points to Dave Stewart. Everybody ready for question 3? Which film starred Barbara Steele as a witch who returns for revenge after being burned at the stake? Demonia, The Night Evelyn Came Back from the Grave, To the Devil, a Daughter, or Black Sunday? Looks like Dylan's writing the longest of the 4 answers there. Dave, what did you say for this one?
Oh, I said Black Sunday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. Marli?
I also said Black Sunday.
Black Sunday. Dylan?
I said To the Devil, a Daughter.
To the Devil, a Daughter. Great title, by the way. The correct answer is Black Sunday. Moving on to number 4. Question number 4. The following is a list of legendary actors and films they appeared in. Which of the following was not directed by an Italian director? Boris Karloff in Black Sabbath, Oliver Reed in The Devils, Christopher Lee in The Whip and the Body, or Udo Kier in Suspiria? Dylan, what did you guess?
Oliver Reed and Devils.
Marli?
I put Udo Kier.
And Dave Stewart, what did you say?
I said Oliver Reed and the Devils, which was directed by Ken Russell.
That's right. Okay, question 5. The final question. Which 1971 Italian film stated on the movie poster, "The worms are waiting, ... Is it The Gates of Hell, The Night Evelyn Came Out of the Grave, Zombie, or House by the Cemetery? Marli, what did you say?
I said The Night Evelyn Came Out of the Grave.
Do you have a reason for that?
I feel like the worms would be waiting for her to come back.
That was my thought. That was my guess. Yeah. Dylan?
I went with House by the Cemetery.
Again, cemetery, worms. Dave?
This one confused me, but I have to say 1971, I hope, helped, so I said Evelyn. Night Evelyn came out of the grave.
So of the 5, I think this is the only one that has any sort of sense of suspense to it right now. And the answer is The Night Evelyn Came Out of the Grave. Our very first ever round of any sort of competition on ends in a tie.
I love
how it went.
And how it wasn't about classical music or comic books.
I was going to make it about comic books once I realized, once I decided Dylan was going to be in it. But why I didn't make it comic books is because I had previously hinted to you, Dave Stewart, on our Friday drive that that might be what I would do before I knew that, comic books. Do you remember that?
No.
Oh, great. So
I'm sorry.
Yeah. You remember earlier in the introductions when I said that you were my muse?
Yeah.
Less so now.
I have nowhere to go but up.
So after round 1 of Ends in a Tie, the scores are as follow. It's Dave Stewart at 5 points, Marli at 2 points, Dylan trailing behind at 1 point. Time to move on to segment 2 or round 2 of episode 1 of Ends in a Tie. Is everybody ready?
Yeah.
This is haiku. You find that a clever title, or is that too clever?
I had a lot of fun saying it today.
Haiku?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thinking like, I got to play a game called haiku.
Yeah.
It kept me up at night thinking about it last night.
The title of the game, or just the haiku itself? Really?
Oh, all of the above. No, not actually. Well,
No, I wouldn't believe that it actually did keep you up all night.
no, it didn't keep me up all night or anything. But I did think about it all. It's like, I like that. I do like it.
Oh, thanks so much.
It's clever. It's clever.
It's not too clever, though, is that? Because I know, if you guys know me, I don't want to be too clever.
It's the appropriate level of clever.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Why do I feel like we're not friends anymore?
Hey, we're side by side. Oh, what's that noise? Time for a point swap. What? Points? A point swap? How does that work, you're asking? For this point swap, the person who's in last place, Dylan, can switch their points with any other competitor if they so wish or choose. Dylan, you can switch your 1 point with either Marli's 2 points or Dave's 5 points if you choose. Now, there might be some repercussions for choosing later on in the game. It might come back and hurt you or haunt you. I don't know, but give you a little bit of a moment to Marli. What would you do if you were in Dylan's position? Would you exchange points with I assume Dave?
Well, it's hard because you don't want to make enemies this early on in the game, really.
Exactly.
But I mean, I'm also, lone wolf energy. You got to go for it. That's the most punk rock thing you can do is, do what's best for you. So.
All right, Dylan. I think I've given you enough time to debate and wonder and fret over this epic decision.
I go back to where I get most of my decision making from, social media, and I remember seeing something about if you're on some show and there's 3 doors and there's a goat behind one, and they show you a door, you still got to switch because the math works out.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's the Monty Hall equation, I think.
Yeah, something. Yeah, and so I feel like I have to switch, and given the 2 options to switch, I'll have to go with door number 5.
Okay, so you're switching your 1 point with Dave Stewart. Dave, how are you feeling about that?
I know the name of the show.
Let's make a deal.
No. Yeah.
No.
Oh, this show. Okay. That could all just be a ruse.
Well, let's go then. Let's do it.
All right. So, updated score. Dave Stewart is now at 1 point. Marli is at 2 points. Dylan Miller with an excellent Italian horror cinema round is now with 5 points. Time to move on to the second segment. This is Haiku. Nice little graphic will show up there. Again, done by Dave Stewart, who from now on will have no favoritism shown to him. Just for you guys on the bottom, just to let you know that.
I'm on the bottom.
I mean, of the Zoom call. All right, so I'm still trying to figure out how Haiku actually works, but I think it works like this. I'm going to, so there's 4 haikus that now exist on my iPad. One written by each of the 3 of you and one written by me. I am going to randomly read out all 4 haikus, and in turn, you will decide who you think has written each. For each one you get right, you get 1 point. If you've written a haiku and nobody guesses that haiku, you get 5 points. I don't know if that makes sense in terms of game structure, but that's what I'm going with. I've just decided in my brain. So here's haiku number 1. Randomly chosen haiku number 1. A fish so vulgar, like piss and vinegar smells cooking in the pan. So we'll call that one fish. All right? Just short form. That's fish. You can call it piss if you want. If you're more of a punk rock kid, you can call it piss. I'll accept piss.
Pardon?
Haiku number 2. To write or to guess? What really is the challenge? Perhaps it's to hide. All right, here's haiku number 3. A burn on the arm hurts in a different way than one on Twitter. And finally, number 4. The island sun melts, pools of gooey, mooey form. I miss Cousin's shore. So, Dylan, let's start with you.
Yeah.
What is your official guess for fish piss?
David.
David, what is your official guess for fish piss?
Well, that just messed everything up. Because, I'm going to do it anyway. Dylan.
Okay. Marli, what is your official guess for fish piss?
I'm going to go with you just to make it a solid. Yeah.
Huh. Okay. I was kind of expecting you to guess yourself because you're the one who wrote it.
Don't I get 5 points if no one guesses it with me?
Oh.
I kind of meant over all four. Like if you don't.
Yourself.
Yeah, I kind of. So you're still eligible for the 5 points, I guess.
Yeah.
But you don't get.
But
any
now
points.
people know I wrote that one.
Well, yeah, everybody.
They're locked in.
Should I not have told that? Shit, I've screwed this up. I guess I should have asked for each of you to. Oh, I don't know what was the best way to do this. All right, we'll just continue on here. All right, so your guesses for WRITE, right? Dave, who do you think? No, I'm the worst at this. All right, Dave, who do you think wrote that haiku?
I think I did.
All right, Marli, who do you think wrote that?
I don't know if you can see it, but I do have Dave here.
Dave. Okay. All right, Dylan.
I went with Marli on that one.
Marli. I think we all agree that if you guess your own haiku, you don't get a point. Is that fair to say?
Probably, yeah.
I mean, Dave, do you want a point?
No.
Okay. But I think, is that fair to say from this point on, if you're fortunate enough to guess your own haiku, you don't get a point for that.
Yeah.
Right.
So in this round, in this haiku, Marli is the only one who gets a point.
Yeah.
The third haiku. The burn haiku, we'll call it. Marli, who do you think whose haiku is that?
I've got Dylan. I don't know. You can't see anything.
Dylan.
There you
No,
go.
I can see
Dylan
that. Yeah.
for number 3.
Dylan. All right. Dave, whose haiku do you think that is?
Well, I had Marley down for that one.
Marli for that one. Okay. And Dylan, who's your guess?
Well, I figured out that you wrote that one, Rob.
How did you figure that out? Oh, I know how you figured that out. Okay. But you didn't write that down, did you?
Oh, I did. I wrote Rob down for sure.
Okay. Okay, good then. All right. So I'm going to have to work out the logistics of how this game gets played. But as it currently stands, in that round, Dylan gets 1 point.
Yeah.
So far, nobody has guessed Dylan's haiku, or have I just given the answer away for the fourth one?
It doesn't matter because they've chosen me for other ones.
All right, so the fourth one, the pools of gooey mooey. Dave, who do you think wrote that? Who have you written down?
Written down you.
You wrote down that was me. Okay. Marli.
I also wrote you down for that one.
Okay. Dylan, who would you suggest wrote that final haiku?
I was very proud that I wrote that this afternoon while sitting underneath the cow's store on Grafton.
It was Dylan. It was Dylan who wrote that. So nobody gets a point on that one. Now we go back to you get 5 points. Does anybody remember what the rule was where you would get 5 points? Is it if nobody guessed yours correctly?
Yes.
And that means nobody guessed Marli correctly. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So Marli gets 5 points.
Yeah.
Dylan did guess himself.
Yeah.
So is it correct that Dylan doesn't get 5 points? Because
I think so, yeah.
So Marli played the game correctly by not guessing herself. Is that correct? I think that's correct.
By the rules you've created, that is the correct way.
The rules that if I ever play this again will get revised. So currently, after 2 segments, Dave Stewart stands at 2 points. Marli is at 8 points in the lead, I believe, followed closely behind by Dylan, who has 6 points. All right. So I think this next segment, which is wrong answers only, we'll figure it out as we go along. So the first one, and you'll go in order. So the first one is Rebel Without a Blank. We'll start with Dylan. Dylan, Rebel Without a Blank. What is the title?
Rebel Without Captain's Hat.
Okay, good. All right. Marli, Rebel Without a Blank.
I'm going to say fart.
Rebel Without a Fart.
Yeah.
All right, good. And Dave Stewart, Rebel Without a Blank.
Nap.
Rebel Without a Nap.
Yeah.
See, for me, that makes the most sense because you need a nap and you're going to be cranky. Mm-hmm. You're going to be a rebel. Marli, do you have a favorite of the 3? You can guess your own. You can say your own.
I kind of like the captain's hat, to be honest.
All right. Dave, Stewart?
I'm going to say fart fits in really well with the punk rock theme because it's really
does.
like rebel without like that urge to be a rebel, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go with fart.
All right. Dylan?
Yeah, I just think fart's funnier.
Fart's funnier. The two of you have come up with a winning vote for Rebel Without a Fart. So Marli gets 1 point. All right, so this next one, Marli, you will start with this one. Dead Poets Blank. Marli.
I'm going to say ghost.
Dead Poets Ghost. Mm-hmm. All right. Dave Stewart.
This was in my head, but I hope it's not too close. Maybe you can make a decision, but Dead Poets Return.
Dead Poets Return. No, I don't think it is too close. Because I can see totally different movie plots from each. both of them I would say I would not go to see. Dylan, Dead Poets blank.
Dead Poets Revenge.
Can I throw one out and it's up for votes as well?
Sure.
My choice, and I've granted I have had longer to think of this because I wrote them out. My choice is Dead Poets are better that way. Anyway, so Marli, who are you voting for?
I think I like Return.
Dave's Returns. So Dead Poets Returns. Dave Stewart, your choice.
I'm going with Ghost because it's similar, but it was first.
Okay. And Dylan, your choice.
I didn't like the movie Ghost, but I like all the Return movies, so I got to go with Return.
What Return movies?
Return of the Living Dead.
Oh, okay. Well, that's just
Return
one
of
movie,
Jafar?
though, isn't it?
Return of Jafar is an awful movie.
Good one, yeah.
So, Dylan, you're just a fan of any movie where somebody returns. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I don't actually think there's a series of movies called like the Return series, is there?
I don't know, Jaws Return?
So we have 2 votes for Return. Is that correct? Dave Stewart's Return.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So Dave gets a point. Dave, you're going to go first on this one. Tinker Tailor Soldier blank.
Which?
Tinker Tailor Soldier Witch. Okay. Dylan, Tinker Tailor Soldier blank.
Tinker Tailor Soldier Major.
Tinker Tailor Soldier Major.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Okay. Marli, Tinker Tailor Soldier blank.
Banana.
Tinker Tailor Soldier Banana.
Soldier Banana reporting for duty.
You've turned it into a Three Stooges movie. Dave, you vote first. Who's your choice?
Well, I have to say my 2 competitors made me laugh very, very
Mhm.
hard, both of them.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with Major because it's like such a boring movie.
It does kind of sound that way, yeah. So 1 vote for Major. Dylan, what's your vote? Who's getting your vote?
I'm inspired by the concept of Soldier Banana.
Yeah.
The adventures that he would have in a Marx Brothers like farce comedy, I guess, or
I think so,
or
yeah.
a Carry On type movie, something like that with Soldier Banana.
Yeah. Marli, your vote.
I'm going to spice things up and go with Dave so that you have to pick a tiebreaker.
Aha! I thought you might do that. I think I'm going to have to go with Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Major. Just because I don't like it so much. That's the reason.
It's such a great.
It's just terrible.
It's a terrible movie title.
Great letdown.
All right. So
It's like an idiot trying to talk about like HMS Pinafore to you, right? Oh, I like that song. Tinker Tailor Soldier Major. Modern
I am the
General
very modern Tinker Tailor Soldier
Soldier
Major.
Major. Yeah.
All right. Dylan gets a point. Congratulations, Dylan. Number 4, the 4th of this. Schindler's blank. And Dylan, you're going first on this. Schindler's blank. What is it, Dylan?
Schindler's Lawn Care.
Schindler's Lawn Care. What a shitty movie. Of the title. Marli, Schindler's blank.
Big Idea.
Schindler's Big Idea. I have a fear that it stars Roberto Benigni. You know that
Banana? Roberto Banana?
Roberto Banana, sure, yeah. That would be fine. Schindler's Big Idea. Schindler's Lawn Care. David Stewart, Schindler's blank.
Party van.
Schindler's Party Van. All right. Voting time. Dylan, who's getting your vote?
Schindler's Big Idea sounds like a terrible documentary I'd watch late at night on Netflix.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
Marley?
I like the party van. Was it party van?
Yeah. Schindler's
Yeah.
Party Van. And
Yeah.
Dave Stewart.
I like Big Idea because it sounds like a theatrical release that would be here for 2 weeks and star a girl group I really like, and I would go see it.
So Schindler's Big Idea gets the nod. That's Marley, right? All right. The final wrong answers only question. And Marley, you're going first here. The good, the bad, and the blank.
Let's say train wreck.
The good, the bad, and the train wreck.
Mhm.
All right. Dave Stewart. Dave.
Yeah, the good, the bad, and the unfathomable.
The good, the bad, and the unfathomable.
Yes, fun to say,
Is
right?
it, so the good, the bad, and the unfathomable. I can't say that word. Dylan.
The Good, the Bad, and the Rest of Us.
Oh, that's a feel-good movie, I think. Marley, your vote. Who's getting your vote?
I'm gonna go with Dave's again.
Dave.
The unfathomable. I can't say the word anymore either. Unfathomable. There you go.
Yeah, you said it very well.
Arthur,
Dave Stewart, who's getting your vote?
you can't vote for yourself, can you?
No, you can. You can.
I'm not going to do that. And I'm actually feeling Spike Lee on that, so I'm going to go with Dylan.
All right. So
It's a dangerous line though, because it could be like a bad comedy with like a family that gets together after divorces, and it's like.
Oh, there's
like National Lampoons, The Good, the Bad, and the Rest of Us.
Or even worse, like a Steve Martin project that's like family friendly, right?
Yeah.
Father of the Bride 17, The Good,
Right.
the Bad, the Rest of Us.
Yeah. Dylan, your vote.
I guess just because it became so hard to pronounce for a few moments. The Good, the
Unfathomable.
Bad, and the Unfathomable. The Good, the Bad, the Unfathomable.
The Good, the Bad, and the Unfathomable. That's Dave Stewart gets another point. So Dave, so that's it for wrong answers only. So the scores, as I think they are, yeah, that's all that matters. I think Marley is at 10 points. Dylan, are you at 7 points?
I think so. Yeah.
And Dave, you're now at 4 points?
Thanks.
Sure.
Should we say 4 points? So 4, 7, and 10. As we move into the final segment of Ends in a Tie. Wait a second, what's that noise? It's another point swap.
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
Oh no.
Points swap. The person in second place can swap points with the person in first place or the person in last place. Dylan, you're in second place. So once again, my friend, you get the daunting task of choosing whether to go leap into first place yourself or take a back seat and go to the last, or you can stay where you are.
I got to go for number one.
So you're taking Marley's.
Spot.
So you've backstabbed Dave Stewart, and now you're backstabbing Marley.
I mean, it's not a backstab if it's part of the rules of the game. We all agreed to these rules before we started the game. Everyone knew what was coming.
All right, so you're taking Marley's points. So the new rule, the new points tally is Dylan at 10 points.
Yeah.
Marley is at 7 points. Dave Stewart is at 4 points. Time to move into the final segment, Ask Rob a Question. Now, I've asked each of you before the show, let's call it a show. Before the show, I've asked you to each come up with a question to ask me. I'll answer it probably. So Dylan, you're now in the lead, so you go first with your question. What's your question for Rob?
It took me a long time to come up with this. I pondered a few different things that I could ask you. Some poor attempts at humor, others, poor attempts to embarrass you in front of, colleagues and friends. But then I came down to like some of our shared interests where I just like felt that it would be interesting to to learn a bit more. And at first I thought about a Formula One question or a football question or something like that. But then I came up with, what's your favorite comedy sketch that you watched on television?
Oh, my favorite comedy sketch that I've watched on television.
I had a hard time thinking of, I don't think I could narrow mine down to one. There's different, the Pythons, the Kids in the Hall, the SCTVs, all of them have brought different things in different ways that I really appreciate.
I will tell you, the first one that popped into my brain, which I think I have to go with because it popped into my brain, is the Dead Parrot sketch from Monty Python.
Yeah. Worthy as any, for sure, for that top.
I'm sure that if I gave it, more time and consideration, which this show doesn't warrant, I would come up with an answer that appeals to me more. But I'm going to stick with Dead Parrot sketch from Monty Python and the Flying Circus. Dave or Marli or Dylan yourself, do you have a favorite sketch?
I went through all those same Monty Python, Kids in the Hall, Saturday Night Live, but then I thought of Carol Burnett. And I think pure enjoyment, and I can't tell you a particular sketch, but a Carol Burnett show sketch probably made me feel better than any of those other shows all combined.
Tim Conway's The Dentist sketch, I think.
That's when Dave said Carol Burnett, the dentist sketch came immediately to mind. Marli, being you have the luxury and the yoke around your neck of being the youngest of the four of us. Are you very familiar with Monty Python or Carol Burnett or even Kids in the Hall, I suppose?
Not really. Like, they're all names I've heard. I've seen a few Monty Python sketches for sure.
Can I ask you, do you have any sort of impression of any of the Monty Python sketches you may have seen? Did you find them I would assume that somebody who isn't of that era would go, what's the big deal about these guys?
Everything I've seen of them, I think is hilarious.
Oh, good.
I can't think of the exact line, but the your father smells of elderberries one.
Oh, yes.
It never fails. I love a good insult, and I think that sketch is just full of them.
The person in second place, which is now Marli, right? Asks your question.
So my question kind of revolves around, you do a lot of improv comedy shows and a lot of comedy in general. So how do you prepare for that when you're having the worst day of your life, but you have to be on stage that same day?
There's no funny answer in this.
No.
I think, though, for myself, what gets me to the stage is knowing that once I get to the stage, everything else that has been going bad for me totally disappears. And I am confident that when I hit the stage, my life will be nothing but wonderful and joyous and pleasing to myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Plus, just as a callback to earlier in this broadcast, a nice little fart. There you go.
There's your funny answer.
Thank you, Marli, for that question. And Dave Stewart, you're up next.
Well, I struggled with the question to ask you, and I came up with one that's sort of a two-parter, but not really. Which is the worst Trump and why?
It's got to be Donald Trump is the worst Trump alive.
Okay.
Donald Trump is the worst Trump alive, and the why is because all the other Trumps are because of him. I mean, I don't think there can really be a worse Trump than the Donald Trump.
Except that kind of comes across as a challenge now, and we don't.
We don't, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You mean a challenge for the other Trumps to reign supreme as the worst Trump?
Yes.
I think Donald comes up to that.
fine John Waters movie, Competition of the Filthiest People Alive.
Right, yeah. All right, so thank you for that question, Dave. So let's start with Dylan is in first place, right?
Yep.
So Dylan, you're at 10 points.
Yeah.
I really appreciated the thought that went into your question, you know, wondering whether it should be Formula One or something else. And I appreciate the wanting to get to know me better. I really do appreciate that. I'm going to award you, the question you came up with, 5 points.
Huh?
You're at 15 points now.
Excellent.
Thanks so much, very much. Marli is in second place. Marli, what is your total? 7? You're 7?
7, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So 7. And your question, and you know, this went on much longer than I thought it would, and it should, and it's going to be edited down quite a bit. But what was your question again?
It was worth a lot.
How do you get out of your depression?
I guess,
Basically.
Sure.
Yeah. How does performing get you out of your depression? So initially, I was going to give you negative points because I didn't really care for being reminded that I have troubles in my life. But giving it more thought, I think what you're asking is, what you're saying, I think, to me is, Rob, take care of yourself. Don't push your negative feelings away. Make them work for your craft. And I'm going to try to say this without laughing. Make it work for your craft of improv comedy, which can be a craft. So I appreciate you making me think that, Marli. And I'm going to award you 8 points. So your total now is, because you really made me think, your total now is 15 points, I think, if that is correct. So congratulations on that, and thank you for the question. Now, Dave Stewart, your total now is what, 4 points?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think it is. We'll all agree that it is. Now, the last thing I want to think about is Donald fucking Trump. How am I going to make Dave's shitty question worth 11 points? And I don't think I'm going to bother trying to figure it out.
Yeah, that's fair.
And when I say shitty question, I mean it in the best sense of the phrase.
Okay.
You know, you're my muse.
I was until earlier you said I messed up.
I think you're back, baby. 11 points for being, not for the question, but for being my muse. 11 points. That gives you 15 points. Dave Stewart's at 15 points. Marli is at 15 points. Dylan is at 15 points. Guess what, everybody? This show ends in a tie.
Woo!
Woo!
I'm shocked.
I think we're all shocked, and more so tired.
See what you did there.
Yeah.
Ends in a tired.
Oh, that's how it ends.